Happy Sunday and welcome to my Sunday sew along today. I am, whilst we're waiting for people to join, I'm just going to finish threading my sewing machine because I'm finished doing that. You see I've got some lovely daffodils on the side there, brightening. It's the first time I've had fresh flowers in my house since the field stopped producing them because I only really buy British, so it's nice though to have them, that bit of yellow. I have to say though, it worries me how early they are. Even though my daffodils are starting to kind of pop up, it does feel a little bit early, so they've probably been produced in a non-sustainable way. Ooh. So we are going to be making the Alice top, if I can thread the machine. If not, we won't be doing anything. So the Alice top is a sew over it pattern, and it's one from the archives really. It was a long time ago that I designed this one, and I actually haven't made it or even worn it since, yeah, it was out years and years ago. So I thought actually it'd be a really nice thing to make, especially if I can make it a little bit higher up. So that's what I'm going to do, and in a minute I'll talk you through all of that and how I'm doing it. I just want to try and get you a bit better angle. See if that's a little bit better. You do lose the top of my head. So yeah, do say hi. Hi Vanessa, nice to see you here again. Do say hi as you're joining. Always nice to say hi to you, and also for you guys to say hi to each other. And I love knowing where people are joining from. It's the thing that excites me most about doing these. So we're going to make the Alice top. I've put in the description the link to the pattern if you're interested in getting it from Sew Over It. I'm going to explain what I've done to try and raise it up a little bit, just so it's not so low cut for me. And the other things to say is the link to my Buy Me a Coffee page is also in the description. So if you, hi Eileen, if you haven't heard about that yet, that's just the way you can support me. So rather than making these paid, I make them free, and then ask those of you who can to donate something to make them sustainable for me to keep going with them. Right, so I've kept all the pieces on here because I wanted to show you. Oh no, my pin dish is over there. That is annoying. I don't think I can be bothered. Hello in the Isle of Wight and hi in Cape Town. I'm doing good, thank you. So this is, I'm sure the weather's much better in Cape Town than it is here. This is what I have done to the bodice piece. So this is, I'm making the Tanzania, hello. I'm making the top with the B cup. So this pattern comes with a B cup, a C cup and a D cup. So I'm just making the B cup, which is like the standard Sew Over It size. And what I've done, can you see there, I've raised it up here, so that's the point here where it dips, and I've raised that, so I've built it up. I've kept the same length there because I'm going to need that length. I've just slightly raised that up, and then the same on the facing as well, so that it marries up on the facing piece. So I'm hoping that's going to work, but let's use me as a guinea pig, because if it doesn't work, then we'll have a think again about how much more you might need to build it up. I mean, obviously it's completely dependent on your figure, and I just didn't, I kind of judged it based on looking at photos of it on me, and I was like, oh, hi there Francesca, okay, that's nice. Listen away whilst you're sewing. So that's what I did, is I built it up yeah, on the pattern, and I'm hoping that'll just add me a little bit more modesty, because I don't want to have to wear anything extra with it. That's all I want to be able to do. Right, so let's just see. So we've got quite a few pieces here. So again, I've kept everything on just so I don't lose track. But we're starting off with the front pieces, and we do need to do some stabilising. Now this is when, we need to do some stabilising of the neckline with some elastic. So we're not going to do it with the facing, we're doing it with the actual with the actual fabric. Now, which is my right side? That looks like my wrong side is on the inside there, so I'm just going to put that there and put that there. Now the seam allowance on this pattern is 1.5 centimetres, 5/8 of an inch. Let's say, whoopla. Try and get you a little bit more of an angle. But we need to make sure that this sits kind of within that seam allowance, or pretty much on the seam allowance. So it's just clear elastic that's going to stabilise this edge. And if you don't put this on, one, it's jersey, and two, it's on the bias. So that is going to stretch, which is not good. We do not want that. And it will just continue to stretch, really. I think when we did the originals, we did stay tape them with stay tape, and I found that too rigid. So I do think this is better, the elastic, but if you haven't got clear elastic, then you could just use some fine organza, cut into a bias strip, and then stretched out, or something really fine like a voile or something. You can almost like make your own by cutting a strip across the bias and then stretching it on the iron, and then that will be lighter than stay tape, which is quite rigid. So let's just, this is one. How many pins have I got? Oh, I've got 3 pins. Oh, don't use them all at once, Lisa. Oh dear. I've sandwiched myself in, and because Coco is here, it's a bit wonky, isn't it? Because Coco is there, you can see her happily enjoying the ironing board. Because she is there, I don't want to move her. So I'm just going to pin this along here. Now, ideally, you should cut this from the pattern, just in case the fabric is already stretched. So you cut your length of elastic from the pattern front neckline edge, not from the fabric edge, but I just did it quickly. And I'm being very conscious that I'm not stretching as I'm pinning. So I'm just popping those pins in parallel, facing upwards, because that's the way I'm going to sew it. I'm going to sew it from the top, from the shoulder seam down. There we go. Okay, so just get that in. Check my presser foot. Now we're going to pop it on 2 zigzag stitch. I'm going to put it on a nice long stitch length of 2.5, but I'm going to put my width at about 1.5, and that's a zigzag stitch. Take that pin out. I'm taking the pin out, but I am using my hands here just to hold that stitch, elastic tape in place. Very happy about how my nails and hopefully my my lipstick matches the fabric I'm using. So I'm using a viscose, no, Coco. Oh. I'm using a viscose fabric. Off you bob, darling. Viscose jersey. You can make this out of cotton jersey as well. Just a bit more clingy to the body in viscose jersey, that's all I'd say. And this has to be fitted, so if it's not fitted, it won't really work. It can't be baggy, so. Okay, so that's one done. Let's do the other one. Yeah, okay. So I know you're losing my head, but I think that's better because you're gaining more of what I'm doing, and let's face it, that's what you're here for. So I'll keep bending down and saying hi. So who is sewing whilst they're watching this? I can't imagine that anyone is actually sewing this, given that I've given about 2 days notice, so people probably don't have the fabric or the pattern. But let's see who's sewing on this Sunday. It's very dismal here in the UK, raining, miserable. It's been raining since, I don't know, about 11 o'clock where I am. Did venture out for a walk, turned back after 20 minutes because it started to chuck it down, so we went for a hot chocolate, and now little Jazwaz is just sitting on the sofa watching television. I've given her some snacks. yeah, who else is sewing? I know someone said they were sewing in Italy. Is anyone else sewing as they're watching? If they are, what are you sewing? Okay, okay, let's stitch this one, the same one. Same way rather. Keep one eye on the sewing, one eye on the screen in case anyone pops on and chats. Multitasking to the max. I have also got my instructions here so that I can check, because like I said, I haven't sewn this, worn this until for years and years. I think I designed this when about 5-6 years ago. So it's been a while. But the beauty of sewing is it never goes away. Once you get your skill level to a certain level, it just never goes. It's like riding a bike. It's always there. You're a little bit rusty perhaps, but you're always at it. Right, the 4 pins that I've allowed myself, let's move those. The Odessa dress from Little Lizard. Ooh, so you're making a top, I think I saw there as well in Solihull. Oh, nice. So don't forget, guys, to give me a thumbs up. It's really good for people trying to find, other people trying to find me, to grow my audience back again. I've got now 2,000 followers though, so I'm very pleased about that on Instagram. But yeah, kind of like letting people know that I'm back in the sewing arena. So, okay, right, we've got those two there, we've stabilised them. I think we're just doing the front edges now. Yes, we are. So, we've got these 2 front edges here that we're going to now stitch together. So, we're going to pop them right sides together. And I'm going to pin them with my army of 4 pins. Now Coco's moved, I could actually get up, but I don't want to. So you'll notice that a lot of the things that I'm wearing at the moment aren't handmade, because I have very little handmade things in my wardrobe, because my style has changed, as I think it does for a lot of us as we get older or just go through different changes or get influenced by other things. And I am very much starting to think, you know, about coming back to my vintage roots, but in a kind of more sophisticated and understated way. So more land girl 1940s vibe than anything else. And I am therefore thinking about all those colour palettes. I've been buying various bits off Vinted, and you'll see those as I'm sharing my outfits on Instagram. And then I'm trying to make things that will complement it. And I'm already annoyed that I made the Billy sweatshirt in pale pink, because I don't think I'm going to be wearing a lot of that. I want to wear more navies and greens and kind of rusts and camels and browns. Anyway, I'll have to make another one. Have you not got an automatic threader? No. Did you know that you've got capitals on there? So it came out as very shouty, that comment. Right, so we are on 5/8 of an inch. That's our stitch. I'm going to reduce that stitch length, I think it's too long. So that's our seam allowance, sorry. And we are going to make sure we reverse at the beginning. Take our pins out as we get to them, and just being very delicate with the way that we handle the fabric. Viscose jersey stretches very easily, so you've got to be very delicate. I think anyone new to sewing, we tend to over hold things. Have I done a colour analysis? No, I haven't. I've never had that done, and I've always been interested to do that. But I've sort of, yeah, I've spent a lot of time looking online and thinking about my style and thinking about how I feel like I've lost my way. That seems a bit too dramatic, but just lost confidence, maybe, in the way that I dress and things, and probably because I needed a break from all of that, but also because I'm a flower farmer, and I sort of also needed to relook at things based on the fact that I'm 42 now and the lifestyle that I have now. I'm not in London, so super dressed up is not really suitable for my lifestyle, but I do want to start making more of an effort. And discovering and looking at things online and seeing people who have similar colouring to me, that's what's been really useful. Because I have followed influencers that are blonde, and I find it, although it's interesting to see what they're doing in terms of shape and how they're putting different shape clothes and things together, I find it not very inspiring, because the colours that suit a blonde are very different from the colours that suit me, which makes sense obviously, doesn't it? We also need to, okay, we're going to press that open, but I'm just going to, before I go over that and disturb little Coco, I'm going to, oh, I've got another pin. That's exciting, isn't it? I'm going to pin this together, just remembering that that was right sides. We're on the outside. And so I found that really useful. And I think also, I kind of pastels, for example, I can wear pastels in the summer when my skin is a little bit more coloured and warmer, but pastels really are not my friend in the winter. And so as much as I love colour, I sort of realised that I've probably been wearing some things that are just not quite right for me at this time of year, because they just, yeah, make me look washed out. And I actually really, navy suits me really well, so much more than black. Navy and brown are much, much more my colours. So I'm not going to stop wearing black. I mean, it would be silly, but I'm not going to buy any more black, or not too much more black, if that makes sense, or make too much more black. Oh gosh, this is just, sorry, took my eye off the ball, and that decided to feed into there. Nothing like a viscose jersey feeding into the bottom of your sewing machine. So yeah, so then, and then stronger colours, so like bottle green and maroon, reds. Obviously reds look really, I say obviously, but I wear a lot of red lipstick. Red looks good on me, different shades of red. And rust is much more of a colour than mustard for me. Like a dark ochre mustard would work. And then in terms of camel, I can wear that, but it usually needs to have some other contrast in there. Another blues look good on me as well. Pastel blue actually is one of the blues I can pull off pastels. But anyway, I guess I know that from experience of seeing things, but I definitely still learning. So seeing things on me and going back almost, and when I've actually been looking at the patterns on Sew Over and thinking, God, why did I make that in that colour? That was not my colour. But I do think it's easier, especially because we're so overwhelmed with choice and style influence at the moment. I do think it's easier if you do limit yourself to a colour palette to a degree. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but if you're trying to kind of build your confidence again, let's say that building your confidence in how you're dressing, then, and also maybe starting out a bit of a new wardrobe refresh, then if you don't give yourself a colour palette, you're going to just buy so many different things. So for me, the idea is that this will be very much a capsule wardrobe, that I'll be able to piece things together really easily because the colour palettes will work. So, Coco, I'm really sorry, darling. I need you to go, darling. Go on. Because she's so big. She's still big. I've tried putting her on a diet. It doesn't work. Go over there, sweetie. Go over there. Go on. Good girl. Go on. Yeah. She's not gonna. She thinks the wire of the iron is some sort of toy. Lovely. Right. I'll just press those seams open. So this is the bust facing. Get on the right heat setting. Coco, you sitting on it? Not helping. I think I'm going to have to... It's not helping, darling. Where is that lead? I think I'm going to have to move it along here, sorry. Right, let's press that open. I'll tell you what I need to get. I do have out in the garage a great sew along iron, which is that one that sits on a base, and yeah, that's really good. Sits on a base, and then you know, you don't have that restriction of the cord. Causing more creases here with this iron as it's stretched. Okay. Bye-bye, Coco. Right. So we're now going to put these together. I'll check the seam allowance on the neckline. I believe it's yeah. So we're now going to place these necklines together. Now you'll notice that the facing is a very different size to the existing, to the outer fabric. That's intentional, because what the facing will do is it helps create that gather, so it sort of ruches up on the front, and then that supports it on the back. Look at this difference here though, how I've got that difference there with the neckline, and that's all because it wasn't stay stitched. So we are going to have to ease this in. I don't know if you can hear that. There's something on the television Jasmine's watching where you can hear a phone ringing, and it's slightly driving me mad. Okay. So I haven't yet finished my vintage shirt dress shirt. I started to finish, I had to do another sleeve, so I finished the sleeve, and then I'm hoping today, Jazzy allows, I'm going to keep sewing after this and finish this and finish that, so that because I really want to start putting it together with things and doing some little reels on my outfits. So that's the plan. That's the plan, Stan. I'm now having to take the pins off those other pieces. Because I need them. Oh, here, look, I've got a few there I can take. So I always like to put my pins perpendicular to the edge that I'm sewing, because then I don't have to think about the direction of the sewing. I know they'll be easy to take out as I go. I would recommend putting 2 pins, a pin either side there, of those press seams so that they don't budge. Okay. Just lining up now. Just going to slightly, I'm still not quite happy with the width of this. Right, the pin comes out. So we're starting at the shoulder seam, and we're heading towards the V. Now I am getting a little bit of give and stretch, frustratingly, on this facing side. So I'm just going to try and manage that bit by bit. So it's where we've eased it, basically. You often find that the top layer of fabric, because it's under slightly more duress, it's under more strain, it tends to stretch. If you think about, that's why walking feet are really good. That wouldn't be appropriate for this, but walking feet help with that because they help feed the top through as well. So if you think on the bottom, you've got all those teeth gripping things. Okay, we're coming up to the V. Going to pivot to make sure those seams are pressed open, and as you come up to that V, oh, that's annoying, I'm getting, let's tuck that in. thinking the seam allowance is just coming up there. So I'm coming up to that seam there on the V, so right on that seam I am now. I'm going to leave my needle in and then I'm pivoting so we get a nice sharp point there, although it is going to be covered by the tab that we put in as well. Speed up now. I am still having to do a little bit of stretching just to make sure we're not getting any little pleats in the facing side. That's the beauty of the elastic there, allowing you to do that. Okay, right, that's done. Let's see now, so pivoting, trim seam allowance down to half its width. I'm not going to do that on mine because I want to have that extra strength there. And we need to press the seam allowance towards the bust facing. Okay, so I'm not going to trim it down. I want that stability of the viscose. I think if it was cotton, maybe you could, but one thing we are going to have to do is we are going to have to cut into this V, but I'm going to cut into it just either side of the, let me trim that down, either side of the seam, because if you cut through into the seam, you're then going to risk that whole seam coming undone. But we do need to trim it and cut into that seam allowance, otherwise it's not going to sit as flat as a V. And then, coming back to the iron, we're going to press it towards the facing. Realise what's that there? That's just caught in. Just trim this away, sorry. Just see there, it's just caught in the bottom of this. That is so annoying. Tiny little bit. I don't know how I did that, but I've caught bottom edge there. Can't be bothered to unpick it. It's be fine, but frustrating. Right. Okay. So you can see that's how it's looking now. So that's the top part. So now we're going to go to the tab. Now, right sides together, fold the bust tab in half lengthways, stitch along the long edge with a centimetre seam allowance. Okay. Right sides together. Let's pop some pins in there. That one's bent. We don't want that. Oh, it's still raining. Oh, it's horrid out there. I did some work actually on the field yesterday, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad I did it then. So you may have seen that I have announced the Friday club that I'm going to do in London. So once a month I've rented the new Craft House studio so that I can run my own little Friday sew club. So if any of you are in London and want to join, they're in Hackney. Obviously all their machines and everything is there, so you don't need to bring anything, just your sewing project. And we can have a little sew together, actually in person. So yeah, once a month in Hackney, and I didn't put a link to it, but I will add a link to it once this is uploaded to YouTube. but it's basically on my site, lisacomfort.com. You'll see it on there under sewing. I'm kind of like, you know, I am just sort of learning about how this is going to work. You know, obviously I had a sewing business before, and, you know, all the bits and bobs we did were all very much, it was very obvious kind of why we were doing them and what I was doing them for. And at the moment I'm just enjoying having a reason to sew again, but I do want to make this a kind of second career that is sitting next to my flower farming, and certainly will be quieter in the summer, but I will try and keep it going. So I'm just trying to work out how I do that and what platform. So thank you for bearing with me, and also thank you for bearing with my disorganisation or lack of planning. That is one of my weak points. I've never been good at it, and you probably would never have known that, because I always had a team of very capable people around me. We're now just going to, I've turned this tab through, we're going to press it so that that seam that we've just sewn sits on the back of the tab, like that. Okay, right. Let's just see, right, so lay the bust panels out flat. Align the bust tab with the lower edge of the bust panels. The seam along the centre should face down. You face down, the centre of the seam should face. Okay. Okay. What I do, right side, align the lower edge of the bust panels, but not the facing piece. Right, where is it? Okay, sorry, I had to just think that through. So here, this is going to be positioned there. So we're not putting it on the facing, but we're going to just position it here, like so. And that is going to get machine tapped in place. So in terms of how much we're going to be able to do, by the way, of this today, I was hoping that we'll get all this bit done, because that's the slightly different part of the pattern, based on, you know, other t-shirts and things that are simpler. You'll be hopefully be able to work out the rest. Sorry, over a needle, lazy Lisa, lazy. So just machine tapping that within the seam allowance, just to hold it in place, because that will get sandwiched, I believe. So we're going to get the lower edge of the bust panels. Okay. So then we're going to align the lower edge of the bust tab, not the facing, but with the top edge of the lower bodice piece. Okay. So the lower back panel is there. And we want the lower front one on the fold. Okay. Right sides together. Place them like so. And we have got some notches that are there to help us, which is really important, because we have got a slightly different shapes going on here. So make sure that your pair of notches on either side fit. So right sides together. I'm going to pin the notches first, and then I'll do the rest. So you can see why, well, you can't see why, but one of the reasons why we have different bust cups on this is because there's so much shaping there. It's almost like a bustier. I know it's jersey, but if you've got a full bust, there's no way the fabric is going to go over, and to do a full bust adjustment on something like this would be really tricky. So we thought, well, why don't we just do that for you? And that was the idea behind it. And I believe this pattern was pattern cut by Rachel, who now runs the Fold line, who isn't a pattern cutter, but she's a very clever woman. She likes to challenge herself, and she's like, I really want to see if I can do this. So she did. She used to be, we had someone called Nicole for many years who used to do all of the technical side of the patterns. She wasn't she didn't do the pattern cutting, but she'd do all the making it digital, and she wrote all the instructions. But before that we had Rachel, and that's when Rachel was doing that job. Kate was sort of assistant manager or something, or manager, I can't remember, in the shops and across the whole business, and that's how they met. And now they're on the fold line, and it's so successful, and it makes me so happy to see them doing so well. It's great. Now, right sides together, line the lower edge of the bust panels with the top edge of the lower panel. Okay, so we're just going to stitch that with a regular seam allowance, so 1.5 centimeters. Still using our zigzag stitch. And I should have just checked. Yeah, that obviously we're sandwiching that little tab now. So yes, I'm trying to work out how I should do it. One thing I want to try and see if I can, you know, if I can get enough people together so we can meet in person once a month. I'd love that, because I'm always in London on a Fridays. So I do Jazzy's school run. And that's across the year as well. It's just not in the school holidays. And so yeah, and I am thinking of doing a Patreon account with a couple of different memberships. So I know some of you who follow me on Instagram are keen to sort of see my lifestyle side of things again. So bits about my home, maybe a bit more about kind of hair and makeup-y things. And then there'll be some of you that are just interested in the sewing side of things. So I think that would be the easiest way of me doing it, rather than sort of setting up another little kind of online Friday sew club, which is something I talked about. But I'm not sure yet. And I thought, for the time being, we'll just muddle through as we are still doing sewing and still sharing it with you all. And eventually there will become a plan. Hi there. There we go. Oh gosh, now we're doing a burrito thing, which is hilarious, me doing the burrito, because I definitely get confused. Now, I know I've done it loads of times, but I still get confused. So I am going to have to go quiet whilst I work this out. Oh dear. Right, roll up the lower front bodice piece. That's this. Is it right side up or is it right side down? We don't know. Okay, let's roll it up. Align the lower edge of the bust facing piece with the front side of the lower front bodice piece. Okay, let's just pin that up there. Basically, we need that to get out of the way, don't we? Just pin it either side so he's out of the way. So we're going to line up the lower front side of the lower front bodice piece and the bust facing piece. So there's the front side. There we go. That's it. And we're going to sandwich basically that in. Is it sandwiching? Yes, basically sandwiching the bodice, lower front bodice piece. Exactly. Okay. Exactly, she says confidently. You'd think the reason why you're watching a sew along is because you're following an expert. That's not really my style. I've never been that serious sewing expert. I have been that person that hopefully builds confidence, but through my sometimes lack of getting it right. Because everybody, I'm sorry, everyone, even the master, Julie, sometimes sews things the wrong way round. And I think it's important to know that, especially as a new sewer. Okay. So I'm just making sure I'm uncurling these edges. There we go. Right, and we're now going to sew this. Da, 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 da. Yes. Okay, so we'll sew it with the same seam allowance. It's really important we do, because we obviously want to cover the other stitching as well. So 1.5 centimetres, 5/8 of an inch. And we're going through all these layers. Do make sure that you really have moved that other piece out the way so that it's not getting caught. Again, it would be easier if you're looking for something, the easiest fabric to make this top in. I'd use cotton jerseys. It's cotton jersey and the kind of tencel jerseys that are a bit more weight to them, so they're not quite as flimsy and they're not going to be kind of curling, and also is easy to then, you could quite easily stitch something you're not meant to. Just doing that bit again where it's feeding through the little gap in my presser foot. Let's tuck that back down. Don't be annoying. You can really hear my washing machine go now. Hopefully it's not too annoying for you on the sound. You'll see that I'm not using an overlocker, or we're not using an overlocker at all with this. I think it's a common misunderstanding that you need an overlocker for jersey. You do not. And the great thing about jersey is it doesn't fray and you don't need to finish your seams. So you would only do it out of it looking better and looking more finished. And if you like that look. Sometimes I find it's a bit more tickly though, if you've got like a tight fitting top and then you've overlocked the edges. It's not as comfortable to wear. Right. What way are we pressing it? Turn the bodice and right sides out. Press the seam allowances up towards the panel. Okay, let's take those pins out. There and there. Pull it out. Okay, so it is now looking like that. Okay, sorry I missed that comment. I will have to have a look at it in a second. Right, we're now going to press. So we're on the, I'm working from the facing side, so from the inside, and I'm just going to press that up there. Oh, I'm glad you don't get, it's not, I'm not, yeah, that's good. Yeah, the burrito method is confusing. I think if just your brain doesn't work that way, which mine doesn't, then you really do have to get your head into it and try and visualize it. Okay, so now we've done that, we are going to, yeah, do the back necklines, align the back necklines, okay, of the back piece. So let's put that there and we'll move on to the back. So here's a back piece. So the back is essentially bagged out as well. So I remember when we did this, we needed to make it neat. We needed to kind of have this as two pieces as well. That was really important. I think we tried to think, could we make the back piece just one piece? But we just couldn't. So we're just lining this front neckline. And we're going to sew that together with, we've got some notches, so just use those notches. I'm going to sew it together with 1.5 centimetres seam allowance. So this fabric, I went to Walthamstow Wasn't in the market per se, but it was along the high street. And one of there's like 3 fabric shops that are quite close to each other, and nearer the St James Street end. And I think this was £3 a metre, this fabric. Very reasonable. And I also got some really lovely wool to make my Amelia jacket out of. And I'm going to size up on my Amelia jacket. I'm going to make that on Tuesday. I'm going to start that, but I'm going to size up because I want to be able to wear it with a chunky jumper, and I don't want it to be too tight fitting. I think that's right. Do I want to size up? Yeah, I think I do. I do want to size up. Okay, so now we have done that. Press the seam allowance towards the outer back panel. Well, who knows which that is really, it doesn't really matter, but we just make a decision of which way that is. And we'll do that pressing. How are we doing for time? 45 minutes, okay, 15 or so minutes left. And obviously there's no one stopping us from continuing, but I find that it's a bit risky uploading it if it's really, really long. I don't want to lose it, because I know most people don't watch it live, they watch it afterwards. Okay, place one upper back panel, oh goodness, it's like the burrito, with the top edge of the back panel and pin and roll, okay, so we're going to do similar things again. I should say as well, I've taken about 1 inch off the length of this, and I have also lengthened the sleeves because I wanted it to be long sleeves, and I think it's about 3/4, and then I didn't want it to be quite as long because I'll wear this tucked in, so I have made that change already. I should have probably said that at the beginning, shouldn't I? Where's my notches? Looks like I've not put any in. Helpful, Lisa, helpful. Why have I not put any in? Wait a second, hang on a second, I'm about to do something very stupid. Now I need to just check. Lower front panel, lower back panel, yeah. It's there, isn't it? And so your notches are there and there. Yes, so there's no notches in this. I guess that's easier to put together. So we're just going to first do that right sides together with one side of that back bodice. Doesn't really matter. Really doesn't matter. I guess it's how you've pressed it perhaps, but I don't think it matters. You can so we've not got any notches, which probably we should have put notches in here, just because it's quite a long way across. Oh, Mr. Washing Machine, I hear you. You're going to have to wait. Sunday wash day. So hard at this time of year, isn't it, to get through all the blooming washing. It takes so long to dry. And I do have a tumble dryer, but I don't like to use it too much. Right, we're going to sew that now, 1.5 centimetres, 5/8 of an inch. The thing that I absolutely love is my electric dryer thing from my clothes source from Lakeland. So good. And you kind of put this cover over it, and it uses apparently the same amount of electricity as a light bulb. It's really not that much. And you put it on overnight, it's basically dry by the morning. So good. It's a bit big, and I don't really have space for it out in the day, so I quite like doing it in the evening, and then it's away in the day. Who knew we were going to talk about washing? But you know, it's kind of similar because it's caring for clothes, isn't it? Caring for clothes. almost done, Jazzy, I know. No, you can't come in, baby. Give me 5-10 minutes, okay, darling?
But I'm hungry and I don't like banana.
You don't like the banana bread? Okay, well, I think you can wait for 10 minutes, yeah? Can you get an apple? You've already had an apple. There you go. Good girl. Matt and I used to joke that we should have called Jazzy Apple. Because when she was little, she used to eat so many apples. And she's... She has actually. She's gone through phases of loving them still and then going off them again. Right, then burrito-y again. We're roly-roly. Oh, we're meant to press that, aren't we? Let's press that first. And press that up towards the bodice. This is so funny. Coco's sort of lying, you can't see it, but she's underneath the wire of the iron, and so she's, when I iron, she's sort of squished under it. Sorry, Coco, but you chose to put yourself there. Right, let's just, I do find it helpful, especially with jersey, just to pin that little burrito roll away. And then we're taking the other side of the top bodice and we're coming round and we're lining it up here. Hopefully that is easy to follow. These are the sorts of things that I hope really help when you're watching it on video, because as great as any visual instructions can be, and diagrams and photos, the actual physical movement of something like a burrito method, so much easier to see somebody else do it. I'm much happier about this position in my kitchen as well. Basically put a blanket behind my mirror, like on my mirror, so that we don't get the reflection of the light that I've got on to make this easy for you to see. But it is so much better use of the space. I have got a cabin in my garden, which I was going to make my sewing, like a little she shed. It's insulated and I could easily add, you know, it's got lights and heating and stuff, but the internet's not very good out there, and even with a booster. But also in this instance, when I'm on my own with Jazzy, I want to be near her. I don't want to be out there. Because then she needs to come out there, especially in the winter. So the kitchen table it is. Right, so we're carrying on, going through, so same seam allowance, 5/8 of an inch. So I think we're probably at the end of this. I will show you how it kind of comes together, but we've basically, once you've finished this bit, you're essentially sewing a t-shirt. So all that's left now is we've kind of joined, you've got to finish the tab, that's right, we've got to do that, but I think we finish that at the end. You kind of pull it in, because you might want to adjust it by pulling it more, so you can't really do that until you've finished the rest of it. So you make the top up, and then at that point you then adjust the tab and you try it on. But so I don't want to so yes, it's like all the tricky bits are definitely, we've done them, and now all that's left to do is to treat these front and back pieces like a t-shirt pattern. And you essentially have just got to put the sleeves in and then stitch down the side seams and hem it. It's really, you know, less than an hour's left probably. Okay. There we go. done diddly done. It's inside, that's the outside. So I'm going to I'd give that a good press. That's essentially, you've got your back piece there. So the next thing is to take your back piece and your front piece, and you would join at the shoulder seams. So put your front right side down onto that, join at the shoulder seams. Then you're going to put your sleeve flat, lay it flat, so you'll press your shoulder seams open, and you'll put your sleeve in sort of flat. You obviously don't need to do an E-stitch or anything. And then once you've done that, you're then going to sew down to pin it, right, so then go down and down. And then it's just hemming around the sleeve and hemming around the hem. And that's it. So I'm going to attend to my lovely little daughter. Yeah, and then I'm going to finish this. So stay tuned. I will make some content and show it finished. I might actually try and film me adjusting the tab, and I'll pop that up on Instagram. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me and for sharing this so along with me. Thanks to those of you who kind of chatted and said where you're from. And for all of you who've given it a thumbs up, that really helps. Do subscribe to my channel. I was going to say Chanel then. Subscribe to my channel. And I'll be back on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock to start the Amelia jacket, which I believe we're probably going to be doing for 3 weeks or so, but we'll see how we get on. And I will probably do another one. I'll try and do another daytime one, maybe on Friday, but I'll just have to see how things go. So stay tuned as always to my Instagram, and also don't forget that you can show your support by buying me a coffee just for £5. Expensive coffee. I tell you, if I bought a coffee in a coffee shop for £5, it would be a bit miffed. But you know, you get the gist of that site. The link is in the description box below. Thank you so much. Bye.